Hello, everybody. Welcome to this commentary for The Enemy of the World. I'm Toby Hadoke. I'm an actor and a comedian and also an anthropomorphised anorak with Doctor Who coming out of my ears, nose and throat at all hours of the day. Fortunately, that's going to be put to good use, hopefully, as I'm joined by one of the stars of these relatively recently discovered episodes. So I'm going to ask her to introduce herself now.
I'm Deborah Watling, and I played Victoria Waterfield.
Hello, Deborah Watling, who played Victoria Waterfield. It's very nice of you to join us for this this episode that we wouldn't be able to do this to in relatively recent history because we didn't have it. So
No, we didn't. It was discovered, one of the lost episodes, wasn't it?
yeah,
Discovered, and that was amazing, absolutely amazing when I found out that it was this.
and we could see for the first time your tartan hat.
And I've forgotten I had that on. I think it's called a tam o' shanter.
Yes.
I think it is, and a little kilt. And look at Pat running into the sea, doing all that and tearing his clothes off. We didn't really realise he was going to do that.
Well, and he does a funny, doesn't he? He does a little kick here.
Yes,
Look at that.
There he goes.
And
up in the air.
I think that's the beauty. I mean, we always miss, the fact that episodes are missing. We miss stuff. But I think with Patrick in particular, his performance had so many nuances and little things to it that when we do get an episode of his back, he brings so much that you wouldn't expect or anticipate.
He absolutely does. I saw an excerpt of Evil on the box recently, and it was me entering the TARDIS, and I'm saying, Doctor, what is all this? And he says, well, Victoria, it's my home, but all the tones in his voice and the merriment that came out of him and the twinkle in the eye, just looking at this young girl saying, it's my home.
You're in your evil costume, but that's the beginning of Tomb. That's the filmed sequence in the TARDIS at the beginning of Tomb, because you've just...
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. But it's a lovely scene. He's very protective of you, isn't he? He has that tone. There's that tone later. That's that scene later in Tomb of the Cybermen where he talks about his family.
Yes,
and
I
it's
say,
terribly charming.
I didn't want to wake you up because you're so old.
Yeah.
You know, it's just fun. But that actual scene was... I woke up that morning with flu. So I usually used to drive into the studio, but they had to send me a car. And I got to that scene, and it was a long speech, and right at the end, I fluffed. We had to do the whole thing all over again. I was thinking, oh no, but it worked, you see, it worked.
Yeah.
People say it's iconic.
It is. It's a wonderful scene. And here's Mary Peach.
I was so envious of Mary because of her costume. It looks like a jumpsuit. I thought she was absolutely beautiful, Mary. But I saw her, a few months ago at one of the signings. She hasn't changed that much at all.
Stunning lady,
Brilliant, absolutely stunning. No, I don't know who that is.
That's Henry Stamper. He's playing an Australian. He's not an Australian. He was Scottish. But the reason he's cast as an Australian is because he did a lot of radio work and he was known in the business as an expert on all dialects and could differentiate dialects even within a county. And in some radio productions played several different characters. So one would guess that when they said we need an Australian, if they didn't have enough Australian actors, they'd go, well, Henry Stamper can do pretty much anything. So that's what his big thing in the business was. Yeah.
Right. Goodness me. Can I ask something, Toby? Do you know every member of the cast? I mean, you seem
not
to know
intimately, but let's not start any gossip.
You seem to know so much about them and what they did and what.
It's because I had a terribly misspent youth. I think I've achieved nothing else, so that's
rubbish.
why I guess I'm always asked along to this and not to people's houses for parties. Yes, I don't know. I can't remember what day it is, but for some reason I soak up this stuff about actors.
You retain it.
Yes.
It's extraordinary. Yeah? Was this Littlehampton?
It is Littlehampton. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, look at Pat.
And the hovercraft is a quite a swish piece of kit.
Yes, and there was a helicopter, I think, as well.
Yes,
and
the first time a helicopter had been used in Doctor Who, an actual helicopter.
Yeah. We were before our time, weren't we?
Absolutely, and that's a great shot. I like the way the guys are on the...
I remember it was absolutely freezing on that beach, but you had to keep going. Look at us running.
And it's a big sort of film sequence. It must have been. I would suspect it was very cold.
It was freezing.
Because this was broadcast. I hope everyone's bought their Christmas presents, because this was broadcast on the 23rd of December 1968. So you'd recorded this probably, these film sequences, in the November.
1968?
1967. December 67 and then into January 68. Yeah.
Oh, I see.
So you'd recorded this at the end, started recording at the end of 67, and it was broadcast from 23rd of December 67 into the beginning of, right through to February 68. Yeah.
All right.
So that's where you want to be, on a beach, November.
No, November, yeah, really nice that was. But there's always somebody standing by, with a rug or something, and the wardrobe lady saying, "Are you cold?" "Yes." But I love the music, you see, as well.
Yes, and it's all stock. None of this is specially composed, so it's a way of saving a few quid.
Oh, right.
This is an actor called Simon Kane, who comes back to Doctor Who as a Silurian in Doctor Who and the Silurians.
Oh, really?
A couple of years later. He doesn't get much to do in this, apart from get thumped by Fraser.
Oh.
Look at that.
Very Butch Fraser. He liked that.
And here's the helicopter. That again, nice. And the gentleman with the beard and moustache, which I don't think are his own, was an old friend of Fraser's from drama school, Rhys McConaughey. I think either they were at the drama school or they'd worked together before. He's a New Zealand or Australian actor. I think he's a New Zealander. Still working out there. Still one of the sort of theatre veterans out there back the other side of the world.
Me.
But
I don't remember him very clearly.
Well, he gets killed fairly quickly as well. But Fraser definitely. I've talked to Fraser about him. Fraser had known him before this. They'd been old mates as youngsters.
And I think the helicopter blows up or something.
It does. Not quite yet. Not when you're in it, but because they're going to shoot at it. So they they puncture the fuel. That's a brilliant shot. That.
Yes, it is actually.
So they puncture the fuel tank at this sort of point, which means that when they steal it later on, they seal their own fate by blowing up.
Right.
But it's quite a stylish introduction from a man whose association with Doctor Who was to go on for many, many years. Barry Letts. This was his first brush with Doctor Who, and his
was it?
Yeah, and his only directing job for Patrick Troughton. And then he became producer just after John Pertwee took over.
That's right. Yes, he did.
So he was to have a great impact on Doctor Who, Barry. But this was his first brush with it. What do you remember of Barry?
Oh, not very much. It's so long ago. I remember him being a very nice man, and he wasn't a strict director. There was always something about him. He wouldn't actually tell you how to play it. You got your moves, etc. But he'd give you guidelines. If you thought, I don't know how to do this, and he'll give you a guideline. I haven't seen him for years.
Oh, he's no longer with us now,
Is
sadly,
he not?
no. But I suspect you would have probably bumped into him at conventions and things, and because he certainly did quite a few. But I suppose because you were in different eras as well.
We were.
You wouldn't sit on the same panels or anything.
No. It's a shame, actually. Conventions are extraordinary because you meet people you haven't seen for years.
Mm.
And people, nothing to do with my era, but the whole Doctor Who, I say again, we're like a huge family. And it's so nice to see people. You walk and you go, "Oh, hello, are you all right?" And all the girls get on terribly well, so that's good. Yeah,
that is nice, isn't it?
Yes.
Bonded by this strange eclectic show.
Yes, I know.
It's run for so long.
I know. But if anyone says anything against one of the girls, we all round on them.
Are you like a pack?
Absolutely. You don't say that.
Pack of Who
you
girls.
Don't do that.
I wonder. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder what the collective noun is for a scream of Who girls.
That could be right.
A sprained
Toby.
ankle of Who girls. But you were saying, and I think we can obviously be honest about these things. This wasn't a favourite story of yours, so you weren't
it wasn't,
particularly
actually.
over the moon that it was this one that came
I
back.
thought it was highly complicated. It's just, it didn't. I don't know how to explain it. I mean, there were no monsters in it or anything like. I was used to monsters, wasn't I? Let's face it. That was called the monster era, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And this one I thought was going to be rather dull. But when I saw it, when they discovered it again, it stood up terribly well.
Well, and of course the monster in it is a human monster, which is Patrick Troughton and his playing Salamander.
Salamander.
Yeah.
That's right. Oh dear, Pat. Playing Salamander. We walked into the rehearsal room at one point, and on the first day of rehearsals for this, and there was Pat and there was myself and Fraser. We said, hello, all right, fine. He said, I've got this speech for Salamander, and I'm going to do it like this, right? Okay? I'll give you an example of it. So he went on, this extraordinary accent. He went on, and then he finished, and he said, what do you think? And I went, are you really going to play it like that, Pat? And he went, oh, just slunk off.
Well, because he was quite a nervous actor, wasn't he, Patrick? I mean, he makes it look easy, but I believe he sort of really put himself through it to get it right.
Yes, he did. Yes. It looks easy, doesn't it, as you say, but it wasn't at all. He worked and worked. He wasn't a method actor. It just came to him. It was his character, and he was similar to the Doctor. Mm-hmm. But the Doctor never took him over. So his little face,
It's a brilliant face, isn't it?
Brilliant. And
and it can crumple so marvellously.
Absolutely. It's comedic as well.
But very intelligent as well. I mean, he radiates a sort of deep intelligence. And
he does.
I mean, was he himself a sort of well-read and intelligent fellow?
He was well-read, yes, and intelligent. Yes, you could say that. But he was quite open with everybody. And he loved people. But he was a very, very private person. And he would never give interviews at all to the press, anything like that. No, never give them. And that's why I was so surprised that he went onto the Doctor Who circuit conventions over in America.
Well, he took some persuading, I think. And
I think he probably did.
And then had a whale of a time.
Yeah.
I think it was John Pertwee that persuaded him to have a bash, yeah.
Oh.
And they started a sort of double act of where they pretended that they hated each other. And
what
had
a
fun
pity
that
I
way.
missed all that.
Yeah.
What have we got here?
This is Rhys McConaughey is about to get killed by one of his own fellows after she does her kung fu, which was her thing.
Oh yes, of course.
And he gets shot mistakenly through the window.
I remember that.
So these guys are going to steal your helicopter, and then swap it for one from a James Bond film, which had footage of a helicopter exploding, and Doctor Who wasn't going to blow up a helicopter. That was far beyond its budget.
So that was from a James Bond film.
So this is the actual helicopter, but when it explodes, that's a helicopter from a James Bond film.
Oh no!
So we're still on your helicopter.
I had no idea.
And that lovely shot of the foot coming in is still your helicopter, but that's
there we
the go.
One. What a clever idea.
Yeah, well, it means you don't have to blow up a helicopter and pay for a new helicopter.
Bill Kerr.
Terrific.
Oh,
and well known at the time, of course.
He was. Well, he was with Hancock, wasn't he?
Yeah.
With Hancock for quite some time.
Yeah.
Until Bill got too many laughs. That's true.
Shouldn't do that when working with a comedian.
No, you see. Naughty. I thought it was wonderful.
Yeah, and he must have probably quite enjoyed this because of doing so much comedy to be playing the straight serious.
Yes.
Who turns out to be the villain, but we don't know that yet. But
no, we don't.
You should know that, listeners, because I suspect you've seen it a lot. Did you and Fraser just fold your arms at the same time there? It was a bit of...
I think it was a bit of that, yes.
You always got very good guest actors in Doctor Who, didn't you?
Oh, yes, you know, people always wanted to be in it. It was weird. You know, like Bernie Breslau playing the Ice Warrior.
Yeah.
You know. And he was in a suit, so you couldn't see who he was. But Bernie really wanted to do it. So why not? And we welcomed them, of course.
Mm.
And it was great fun to have new people in. And
Yeah, every 6 weeks or so you got a whole
make
new cast.
new friends, and it was good. Oh, here we go.
So here we are.
This is it.
Yeah.
And the wardrobe, not the wardrobe lady, the makeup lady was very, very clever. So how can I make my face different from the Doctor? So she put the eyebrows together, matched them up right into the centre.
Ah.
There you see, they join up.
Ah. I see. Because he is, I mean, it is a convincingly different person from the Doctor.
Oh, yeah.
You know, you don't think for a second, you don't see the joins, I don't think.
No, you don't at all. No, I think... Well, he was such a good actor, wasn't he? Let's face it. He could do practically anything.
Yeah.
Really could.
And I guess, you know, having played the same character for a year or so, it was nice for him as a character actor to be able to, in the same series, play a different character.
I think he was quite nervous about it, though.
Yeah.
To actually have to play Salamander as well as the Doctor. One of the scenes, it lasts about 4 minutes, and that's quite a long time on screen. And Pat carried it the whole way. He had a workload, Pat. He really did, and I think it took its toll. Really, because I remember one day, I don't know why we're in the BBC Centre, and he went out onto a balcony, and I said, Pat, are you all right? Because you don't look terribly well. And he said, no. He was white. And he says, I've got palpitations. And that's purely stress. Mm. So I said, well, you've got to go to the doctor now. Forget rehearsals, anything else, you go now. But it was purely stress. You can't put a man through that, the workload he had.
No.
He carried the whole thing.
Yeah. Well, and because he just wouldn't stop working, would he?
No.
Even after he'd had heart attacks and all sorts of things.
No, I know. Extraordinary. But that was Pat. He'd carry on to the end.
He lived to work then.
Yes, he did.
To act.
Well, he had to work as well because he had quite a few families.
As you do.
I remember one day after rehearsals, he said, would you like to come to tea with my family? I went, oh, Pat, that would be lovely. He said, right, so we'll do it tomorrow. I said, yeah, fine. So tomorrow came, and I went to tea with his wife and the 2 boys, etc. And that was fine, had a good time. And the next week, he came up to me and said, would you like to come to tea with my family? And I said, I've been to tea with your family. He said, no, my other family. I went, you are joking. He said, right. So I went to tea with his other family. Well, fine, great. Next week, he came up to me and said, and I went, shut it. Don't say a word. You haven't got another one. It was...
Well, no wonder he was stressed then. I mean,
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's extraordinary to think now in this day and age of press intrusion and all of that, that a leading man in a television series could have this strange element and, not commented upon or known about to the outside world.
No.
Because it would be tabloid fodder.
Shouldn't it?
Nowadays.
Yeah, it would be, actually.
Yeah.
Yes, I know we were popular in our day, but not like today.
No.
Really, it's become huge.
Yeah.
And, I mean, I think it's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
Do you approve?
Oh, I very much approve of the new, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. And it's, I mean, astonishing that, of course, for ages it was such a, Doctor Who was a pariah, really, as a programme, you know, and it was off the air, and it was, you know, the idea that it would come back and be this amazing success.
I never thought it would.
No.
And Eccleston did it, didn't he?
Yeah.
He brought it back.
Yeah, Russell T Davies and Christopher
That's right.
Eccleston.
Oh,
yeah.
yes, Russell. I used to know Russell
Did you?
as a young fan.
Really?
Yeah.
Ah,
Went to conventions.
brilliant.
Did all right as a fan. Can
What?
I have your autograph, please? It was brilliant.
Well, I mean, that's an interesting thing, isn't it, about these shows that you were making? A lot of the people who make television now were watching the stuff that you were doing. You know, you were creating the next generation of, you know, creative talent.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. I meet so many fans who are actually now engaged in the programme. I really do. And, oh gosh, what's his name? Nick
Briggs,
thank you. Nick Briggs and Jason.
Hay Gallery.
Thank you.
Yeah,
They were all fans of Doctor Who, weren't
Yeah.
they?
yeah,
The majority of people.
yeah. It's a show that inspires creativity, I guess. And
Yeah.
and in that you go, oh, and here we have Colin Douglas coming in to finish. We've talked about Big Finish. This is the big finish of the episode.
Is it?
Yeah, so this is where we're going to see the Doctor decide that he has to impersonate Salamander for the first time.
Oh, crikey.
And
Yes, because he did this. He had to rush into the cupboard, quick change, and come out again because there was one
right.
shot.
yeah.
Oh, it is-
So it's coming to the end of the episode. You think it holds up okay?
I think it does, actually. Look, oh, getting feisty.
Yeah.
Don't shout at me.
Oh yeah, you could stick up for yourself.
I could indeed. Yes, I didn't want her to be the Victorian little miss. I wanted... bit like a tomboy.
Yeah.
Well, she had no choice, did she, really?
You grow
What
up
a
fast
scrape
travelling
she got
through
into.
time and space. Yeah.
Yeah, she had no choice
It
whatsoever.
wouldn't have been believable if at the end of the year she was still the same character she was when she
Yeah.
joined the TARDIS.
Colin Douglas, he didn't like this at all. Not being in the programme, oh no. Oh, here we go. That's quick change.
There we
So
go.
It comes. No.
So there we go. So that's
That's
the
brilliant.
Patrick Troughton as the
Isn't
Doctor
it?
playing Salamander.
Yes. Absolutely brilliant.
I think maybe
Loved it.
Colin Douglas hadn't enjoyed himself because he'd had to sit around for 25 minutes and only come on for the last bit.
Yes, probably not.
But he gets plenty to do in the next episode.
Right.
Debbie won't be with us for that because this is her sole contribution to the commentary for this story. So,
It is. I've enjoyed it very, very much. Thank you, Toby.
well, thank you very much.
All
and
right.